Hello gamers, in my last video I played through Marvel's Spider-Man, which also ended up being the longest video I've made so far. This video will be nowhere near the same length as that one, or at least I don't plan for it to be. But I mean, I don't know why I'm saying any of this because you guys can just see how long the video is before you click on it. You could also see that this video is on Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, a game that is classed as a spin-off continuation of the first one, but I personally see it as more of a DLC, even though Spider-Man has its own DLC. Like, I would compare this game, not in quality or anything like that, but in concept to a Saints Row Get Out of Hell. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it is the same kind of thing. Also, I just want to quickly add, if I sound a little bit different in this video, I'm currently at the back end of a cold, so hopefully it's not too bad. Many things like combat and web slinging use the exact same mechanics as the first game, apart from in this game you have the ability to jump at the end of a swing, which might not be the most realistic thing with physics and what have you and stuff. But it is indeed a nice addition. But all the animations have also been changed to separate Miles from Peter, with Morales' movement being more stylized, however also being a little bit more clunky and slow compared to Peter, clearly indicating that Miles is new and maybe doesn't have the knowledge and experience that Peter has learned, or as one GameStop reviewer may say.
Leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. It gives me goosebumps every time he does it, especially as the music begins to swell.
Not what I personally would say, but it is clear that Peter and Miles swing in very different ways. If that is with Miles expressing himself or not being as skilled as Peter in the art of not destroying your back while swinging around the city.
Yeah, that's good. That was it.
Wow. That's good.
Right?
That's better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I did say that Peter is more skilled than Miles, which is very clearly true when Miles makes an error during the transport of Rhino.
Someone bigger? Okay, we got a problem. Hold back, Miles. Let me take...
I got this, Pete. Don't worry.
Oh, no!
It's secure.
You're drifting Helix 2. We have a weight imbalance. Direction 236. Rudder's unresponsive. Brace for impact. Helix 2 going down. Helix 2 is going down. Brace, brace, brace!
However, that doesn't mean that Morales is less powerful, as when he was bitten by the spider he got all the same powers that Peter has. But he also got a couple extra powers that Peter doesn't have, and that is something you discover whilst you are trying to contain the Rhino. After Peter is lying on the ground hanging on for dear life, Miles summons a power from deep down inside himself that he didn't know he had, and that being a form of energy that would be referred to as a Venom power, and it indeed packs a punch.
Miles, get out of here.
Back the hell.
What was that?
For those people like me who don't know Miles Morales as much, and especially didn't know him before the game and the Into the Spider-Verse movie, this power actually has nothing to do with the Venom symbiote, which I thought it did. But this Venom power does indeed make Miles Morales the more quote-unquote powerful Spider-Man. That is until Peter merges with said Venom symbiote in Spider-Man 2. Now, it's not just Miles having the Venom powers that separate the two games in terms of mechanics, as this game looks absolutely amazing using the PS5's far superior specs to bring out an even more jaw-dropping scenes than in the last game. Unlike in the last video, however, I was playing this game on the PlayStation 5 and not PC, so I was unable to have ray tracing with max graphics and also play at 60 FPS. And let's just say I have been a PC gamer for a little bit too long, and I am now at the point where I cannot play a game at 30 FPS. I also feel that when you switch it up to the high fidelity max settings mode on the PlayStation 5, the game also just lagged. But that could just be my eyes seeing 30 FPS for the first time in many years. But however, I did very much enjoy just popping the settings up to max and just sitting on top of the Chrysler building, looking out at the amazing landscape of New York City. It is a very well-known fact that this PlayStation Spider-Man game didn't want to tell Peter Parker's origin story, as everyone has heard that story before. However, in missing out in Peter's origin story and his beginning years as Spider-Man, you also miss out on that feeling of Peter being your local neighborhood Spider-Man, as his villains, to quote Jake Gyllenhaal, are Avengers-level threats, with the likes of the Sinister Six. And Peter's Spider-Man feels less connected to your local New Yorker, where in Miles Morales, we get to feel like said local Spider-Man. It helps that Miles' story, even though it does take part all over Manhattan, it feels very much like it's based in just the neighborhood of Harlem. And the best way to show this will be to explain the story. So, after defeating Rhino by Miles using the Venom punch, a company called Roxon shows up to take Rhino away. Roxon own the power plant where the Spider-Men were fighting the Rhino. They also just so happen to own a massive plaza tower complex just to the end of the street that Miles lives on. This plaza also has something called a new form reactor, something that is said to have the ability to power Harlem for 500 years, which may sound too real to be true because, well, it is. And after taking down Rhino and going for a family dinner, where Miles meets an old friend called Finn, the next day Miles gets to work keeping the city safe as Peter Parker has gone on vacation. I guess Spider-Men get vacation hours. Mainly keeping the city safe from a new group called the Underground, a hacking extremist group, which is very much like the Deckers from Saints Row the Third, which means I don't really know how I feel about them with that comparison in my mind. However, Miles' friend Ganke makes him an app. People can use the app to request assistance from Spidey. And the first person who uses this app just so happens to be Miles Morales' estranged uncle, Aaron Davis, who works for the local train company and needs help as the trains, for whatever reason, are not running on time. So Miles is sent to find out what the issue was, and of course it was being caused by the Underground. However, after defeating the Underground, Miles gets the trains back on time and goes to return to Mr. Davis to inform him. However, after returning, this is when Miles becomes completely shocked that Mr. Aaron straight up can just tell that Miles is Spider-Man.
How did you... okay, gotta go.
Hold up, Miles. I kinda suspected when I saw the news yesterday. Watching your moves on those escape cons, juking guys left and right, could have sworn I was back at the park playing pickup with you and your dad. You were quick then. A lot quicker now. Don't worry, I won't tell your mom.
Promise?
Promise. Look at you. If your dad could see you now.
He'd probably freak out.
He'd definitely freak out. So you taking over for the other Spider-Man?
Nah. Like I said, he's just on vacation.
And Miles was even changing his voice a bit, something Peter has never done, unless of course he's been Spider-Cop. But as we will find out later, Aaron is also a villain known as the Prowler. But Miles doesn't know this yet, and he has to stop off to go to his mum's rally as she is running for some sort of seat in the local government. And of course, the Underground ends up attacking this event, as Roxon guards are there. Guards who look like they are straight up out of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare with those exosuits. But it turns out the attack on the rally was just a distraction as the leader of the Underground, the Tinkerer, and others attack a shipment of Nuform on a bridge, which Miles of course makes his way there to start fighting them. During the fight, Spider-Man uses a Venom punch on the Tinkerer, which makes her electronic mask fail, revealing that the Tinkerer is Miles' friend from before, Finn. And it also just so happens to supercharge the Nuform, making it an even more powerful bomb. So now Miles goes on a journey to find out why Finn joined the Underground, becoming now de facto leader. Whilst snooping around, Miles finds out that Finn's brother Rick was one of the leaders on the Nuform project at Roxon, and he found out that Nuform was making people sick. So Finn and Rick break into a Roxon lab to record the proof they need. But yet there is not much of a record of what happened after that lab. So Miles makes his way into the lab, where somehow his uncle Aaron shows up in his Prowler gear to help keep Miles safe. Obviously Aaron knowing the threat that Roxon can be, him having worked with them in the past, which I'm sure will not come back to hurt Miles in the future. But after finding a video of Rick and Finn in the Roxon lab, Miles decides to tell Finn that he is Spider-Man and that they can work together to take down Roxon the right way, which of course Finn, being a supervillain, declines such an offer. But whilst meeting up to talk about it at Trinity Church, Finn and Miles are attacked by Rhino, who is rocking some very new Roxon upgrades to his armor, which is just a bit odd counting Rhino's whole thing is he wants out of the armor. But hey, Miles and Finn would stand no chance against this Rhino in his new armor, being captured and taken to a Roxon facility.
What?
Where, after working together, they are able to escape and make their way to the lobby of the building, where Miles finds out that his uncle Prowler is working with Roxon currently and arranged the attack by Rhino, although they were meant to leave Spider-Man out of it. And he also learns that the head of the Roxon Research and Development, Simon Krieger, has upped the power of the Nuform reactor in Harlem. But before he can tell the Tinkerer, Rhino attacks them, where after a long fight, Miles is able to take him down, but however Finn runs off, with the Underground planning to go ahead with their planned attack on the Nuform reactor and the Roxon Plaza, with Finn not believing what Miles is saying about the Nuform reactor. The results of attacking this overpowered reactor could leave Harlem in complete rubble, so Miles must obviously try to stop the Underground. Whilst making his way through multiple underground locations, Miles is attacked by the Prowler, with Aaron trying not to lose his nephew the way he lost his brother. So in order to do that, he chooses to violently attack Miles. But after the fight is over, Miles still struggling to convince Finn that Simon has overpowered the reactor, and if she attacks it, it won't just blow up the plaza but all of Harlem. After a showdown between Spider-Man and the Underground at an Oscorp science center, where Finn steals a energy converter that she and Miles made way back in high school. Also, quick little bonus here, you get a little throwback scene where you're playing as younger Miles with Finn, where they are trying to break into the center to see their own experiment, where we also get to see one Peter Parker and Otto Octavius looking at some stuff on their lunch break, which is kind of weird because Peter's doing a full day of work to the point where he gets a lunch break, and also Otto would go into a Oscorp building. Not too sure about those, but it's a nice little Easter egg anyways. But after that scene, when Finn gets what she needs to make the bomb, it is time for the Battle of Harlem, where the Underground and Roxon forces are fighting all over the neighborhood. So Miles starts to clean up the mess when Finn starts her attack on the reactor, where next up, after making his way through Harlem cleaning the streets, Miles confronts Finn in a epic boss battle, which was by far the hardest boss fight, not just in this game, but in the other Spider-Man game as well. Like, it was so rewarding to beat Finn because it took me so many attempts to do so. However, a little bit too late as the reactor has already gone critical, and seeing what the reactor is doing, Finn now knows that Miles was telling the truth. And whilst trying to absorb the energy with his Venom powers, Miles sort of faints, unable to contain the power within himself for long. So in a last-ditch effort to save people, Finn flies Miles into the air just in time as Miles releases the supercharged new form energy into the sky. However, killing Finn in the process as Miles tumbles towards the ground, and upon crashing into said ground, his mask removed. This is where we get another reference back to that train scene from Spider-Man 2, where the people of Harlem choose not to tell the reporters or the police that they saw Spider-Man's face, which I feel for the end of the story is a very sweet moment and enforces that feeling of Miles being the local neighborhood Spider-Man, where Peter is more of the world-ending events Spidey. Even though a massive nuclear-style reactor almost exploded in the middle of New York City, which could very much be considered a world-level event, it still makes you feel like a Harlem event. And that Miles is just helping the people of Harlem, the people who help him. But it will be interesting to see if Marvel's Spider-Man 2 keeps the same feeling of Miles being your local Spider-Man, and if Miles still feels like a new, fresh Superman in the new game, or maybe it's a bit of a time jump and Miles is a much more skillful tacticianer. And it'll be interesting to see how this affects his character. But I am very confident in the team at Insomniac. I can't wait to play Spider-Man 2 when it releases later this month. Although I also couldn't wait to play Jedi Survivor, and we all saw how that did on launch, to the point where I still haven't played it today. Fingers crossed this won't be the same though, which, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think it will, because I don't think Sony release a Spider-Man game like that, because I could see that affecting them having the license for Spider-Man. Although obviously won't, because Marvel tried to get it back in the past. Listen, the law's confusing, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait and go play Spider-Man 2 as soon as it comes out and have an absolute blast, hopefully. Hopefully. And I hope I'll see you guys in my next video.
He's our Spider-Man. Man, I still can't get over that suit. So cool.
Gotta be me.
Yeah, you do.
Pete, does this job ever get easier?
Some of it, yeah. Some things never get easier, though.
Roxon did this uptown because they saw us as disposable. Me, Rick, Finn, all of Harlem. I think part of our job is making sure they can't get away with it.
We'll add it to the Spider-Man oath. Go time?
Go time.